Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Welcome to week 4 edition of the 2024 NFL Draft Rookie Stock Report. We're through 4 weeks of college football. My podcast co-host and I, Jason DiRienzo, we're going to talk about 6 players on today's show, 4 stock up players and 2 stock down players, okay? So this channel is dedicated to getting you ready for the 2024 rookie draft. If you play Dynasty, Fantasy, hit that subscribe button. We are going to be doing all sorts of films here as we head to the 2024 draft, film reviews and mock drafts and everything to get you ready for next year's fantasy season. So I'm not going to waste any time. Let's get to it. This is a recording from our podcast. We do a podcast each and every week called Devy to Dynasty Football Podcast. So let's get right to the show. Here are 6 players that you need to know for the next year's rookie draft.
All right, let's talk about our NFL stock report, man. I'm excited about this one, Jason. All right, because the first guy I want to talk about is it's time to put this man on the map. All right, Jonathan Brooks, Texas running back,
Love it.
6 foot, 207 pounds. He's a redshirt sophomore. He's been in the league for 4 years. Or 4 years. Yeah, I think 4 years. But in any case, I put a film out on the YouTube channel. The last 2 weeks, he's been killing it. All right. He played Wyoming 2 weeks ago, ran for 164 yards. And then this week against Baylor, ran for 106 yards, averaging 5.9 a carry, and had 2 touchdowns. All right. So why do I like Jonathan Brooks? He looks like that physical Texas running back Roschon Johnson and Bijan Robinson when it comes to the physicality. All right. So I loved his physicality in this game. I think he's got some good footwork. I think he's got good pad level, and his forward lean is incredible. I think he's got great contact balance. He had 24 missed tackles, all right, through 4 weeks of college football. That ranks him number 8th in college football. All right, 4.06 yards after contact puts him in the top 20 in college football. So he's got some stats to back up what I like, but just watching him play, I think he's one of these backs that has been buried on a backfield that had better quality talent perhaps in front of him. But this kid, I think we spoke about him a while back, that if you go back and watch his huddle film, right, in high school, the dude was electric. I mean, he looked good, right? So here he is finally getting his chance at Texas. CJ Baxter, everyone, the incoming freshman, everyone's gaga about, thinking, he's getting a role. He's going, but Sarkisian, he's leaning on the veteran here. And I think Jonathan Brooks is a sneaky 2024 NFL prospect. Now he has the ability to come back. Because of COVID, he has the ability, I think, to come back for one more year if he so desires to win a championship or whatever. But Jonathan Brooks, I'm here to tell everybody, this kid needs to be on your radar. I think he's undervalued. I think no one's talking about him. And I could see as we get closer to the 2024 draft cycle, when most guys start really focusing on it in December and January, I think Jonathan Brooks is going to be a name that emerges as a player when the scouts finally get their hands on the film and take a look at him. But I'm a Jonathan Brooks fan.
I love this call. I mean, he deserves the respect, and I keep talking about it because it's true. I mean, he had to patiently wait for his opportunity, and he has taken full advantage of it. So, yeah, that is a great call with Jonathan Brooks. My NFL draft riser is going to be Washington State quarterback Cameron Ward, and it's just about time to put this kid in with some of the names that we're talking about in this draft class. He is just a he's producing at such a high level. And sure, you can name off the competition level, but if you look at the skill set and what he does, I mean, he is calm and eased in the pocket. He understands going through his progressions. He spreads the ball around, shows good arm strength. I love the release. Just everything about him, making plays with his legs. He's been so productive, and he's got 1,393 yards already this season with 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a 135 NFL passer rating. So he is definitely on the map, and I can understand the hype. I wasn't too sure, but I was going back and watching some of his film, and I understand it now. And he's got good size. He's like 6'2", 223 pounds. So, NFL teams are going to see this, and they're definitely going to be intrigued. Now, how they view him with the depth of this quarterback class is going to be, almost a lot of fun and a case study to kind of see how some of these guys pan out and where they get drafted. But I got to think that Cameron Ward is definitely on these radars.
Yeah, I could see a lot of round, 3, 4, and 5 quarterbacks taking guys, just getting them in getting them in their room, seeing what they're all about, seeing if they've got the intangibles and all that. So I love that call on Cameron
That
Ward.
that
So
run on quarterbacks could take a while
it could
with all
take
the
a
guys that
while.
are in this class. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, well, my second NFL stock report pick is an up pick for me, and it's Jalen Polk, who I spoke about briefly here earlier. 6'2", 204 pounds, a 4-year sophomore. Again, he has the ability to come back as well. Man, I love this kid's game. I really do. I think he's physical, but I think he's explosive. He's got good short area quickness. The body control. I put a film out on the YouTube channel I mentioned before. I mean, go check it out. I mean, he made a contortion catch coming across the middle of the field, and Penix was a little off on his field on the throw, and just made an outstanding catch. He just always seems to be open, and he's got really good hands. I mean, he's the last 3 or 4 games. McMillan didn't play this past week. But Jalen Polk is a player that not many people are talking about. You hear of Washington wide receivers and you immediately think of McMillan and Odunze, and then the conversation ends. And I'm here to say that I think Polk needs to be in the conversation. 6'2", 204 pounds. He's explosive. He's fast. He has the ability to create. And I love what I've seen in his game. And he's making big plays for Washington when they need him. And if you don't know about Jalen Polk, I'm glad I can bring him to the forefront here. He's just I think Washington has 3 really good wide receivers who could all make a fantasy impact.
That is another great call. Part of me wants him to go back next year just so we can see what a Polk season where he could be the primary guy, what that looks like. But he also won't have Penix, so
yeah,
I guess
exactly.
you got to look at that too.
It's a risk. Yeah. It's a risk.
Right.
So.
Exactly. Yeah. My next NFL draft riser is going to be Keandre Lambert-Smith, the wide receiver out of Penn State, and they've needed someone to step up, and I can't say that he stepped up entirely, but he has definitely made a name for himself, and Drew Aller has really started to trust him. So one of the things I noticed on film is his ability to separate. When it comes to like a out route or something, he understands keeping his eyes downfield, manipulating the defender, and then breaking at the right time in order to create separation. That is something that I saw when Jahan Dotson was developing. Those are some of the first things that you see is they understand how to manipulate and create separation with their footwork, their eyes, and their body gestures. And that is something I'm noticing from him. He's 6'1", 188 pounds. So far this season, he's got 286 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's caught 2 of 3 contested catches. So he's doing a decent job for what he's being asked to do. I got a feeling like come midseason, we're going to see even more from him based on just the progression that I'm noticing from him. So Keandre Lambert-Smith is definitely becoming a riser for me as far as the NFL draft goes.
Oh, Drew Aller needs a playmaker so bad.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I had a thought the other day. What do you think if McMillan from Arizona transferred to Penn State next year? Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh,
wouldn't that be nice? So
with Drew Aller, that's a 1,500 yard season.
We would hope so, right? So, yeah. All right. My stock down player for the NFL report this week, I want to talk about Braylon Allen. All right. So the guy's been getting a lot of heat on Twitter. All right. And I was pretty high on Braylon Allen. I know I'm higher on him than you, Jason. I know that you were much lower on him than me. All right. And so I said, I got the chance this weekend. I wanted to go on the YouTube channel, get him film out there and watch a full game against Purdue, which I did. I put it out on the channel. All right. Now this kid's got all the stats going in his favor. So the analytical community, I think, is going to like him. I'm not really into the analytic numbers, but he's got a 7.1 average, 255 yards after contact, which represents 68% of his yards. Okay. 4.9 average. He's played 4 really bad teams, okay? But why I have him as my stock down player, as I'm making the game film, cutting up his film and watching it, his footwork. I want to talk about his footwork. And I don't know if this is what you've seen in his footwork, but when he is in the second level, not so much at the line of scrimmage, but when he starts to gain momentum and he starts to accelerate, his footwork, I think, struggles to redirect. And there
Mhm.
was 3 or 4 plays on the film where he was approaching a secondary, either a linebacker or a DB, where he tried to make a guy miss and really struggled, right? So he may be able to make a guy miss, I think, at the line of scrimmage, where he's not, where he can stop, start, before he starts to accelerate. But when he gets momentum, I think he struggles to make guys miss. And it was really obvious on 3 or 4 plays. I'm like, wow. Again, I'm putting him through a lens of I'm seeing him in an NFL team, approaching one of these guys in the NFL. And does he have the ability? This kid's like 242 pounds. I mean, I feel like sometimes you can be a little too big to be nimble. I'm not going to drop him down to, 8, 9 in the class or something like that, but I was a little higher on him than you, I know, and I'm going to drop him down probably closer to you now. But that footwork redirecting with momentum is something that looked like a red flag to me, where I'm not sure he's going to be able to make a lot of guys miss in the NFL, given how big he is and that clunky footwork I saw. Sometimes I saw him do okay, but I saw less good footwork than I saw more in this game. So I just picked him for my stock down player this week, just because that's something I'm going to keep an eye on as we go through the season here.
I never really thought his high speed change of direction was very good. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's 240 some odd pounds. It's hard to hold that against a guy like that. But when you're 240 some odd pounds, maybe you don't even need to elude. I feel like at the collegiate level, you should just be plowing dudes over, and doing a nice stiff arm or something like that, using your strength to get past him if you know that you're limited with your
Mm-hmm.
change of direction. So, yeah, he's going to definitely be an interesting one as time progresses and how the NFL draft process kind of exposes some things or not. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
My stock down guy, and this is tough, is going to be FSU running back Trey Benson. And I mean, for us that have been watching the season, I mean, it's pretty evident that it's just not the same running back that we saw last year. To me, he just seems like he's a bit indecisive, not making the same cuts that I saw last year. When he needs the cut, he doesn't do it. It's just there's a lot of vision problems, and he just doesn't seem to be running with the same authority. And the game, I think it was week 2 against Southern Miss, where he had 3 touchdowns, 88 yards. Like okay, that's awesome. He had a really nice outside perimeter run, showed off the speed, but I want to see it against the competition. I want to see it in big plays, in big games, and that's just not what we're seeing. So hopefully it changes. But for right now, Trey Benson, who we all thought, I mean, some had him even as high as RB1, not the same guy, and things need to improve.
Yeah. So again, I think I can say for you as well, when we talk about these stock down players, it's not necessarily mean like we're, thinking they're not going to be NFL draft players and maybe not
Oh
hit our
yeah, no,
dynasty
no, no, no.
rosters.
It's
But
just
I mean,
where we had them, or where they're valued, and the value is dropping a bit based on
yeah.
performance and stats.
Yeah, and I think Trey Benson was a number 1, 2, 3 receiver for a lot of players. So I think the running back class
Yeah,
for 2024 overall, there's no stars. I mean, Trevion Henderson has been my number 1 since the beginning of the season. Probably is going to
yeah,
stay
he's
there
an
for a
easy one to
while,
call RB1 right now.
but the rest of them, I think, throw them in a blender and see which one comes out at this point. We have a lot of scouting
Yeah,
left to do. So there's our
yeah.
2024 stock report for this week, guys, for week 4. Hopefully you got some new names there and that type of thing. And like I said, go to my YouTube channel. I got films on a lot of the players we're talking about here tonight. So